जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदनंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदनंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी। यमुना तीरवनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा कुंज बिहारी राधा कुंज बिहारी राधे। जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्रीमद् His Divine Grace Abhay Charanaravindha Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajakacarya Ashtottara Sata Srimad His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की गंगमयी की यमुनमयी की भक्ति देवी की तुलसी देवी की कलियुग पावन हरिनाम संकीर्तन की हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द असेंबल्ड डिवोटीज ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द असेंबल्ड डिवोटीज ऑल ग्लोरीज टू श्री गुरु एंड श्री गौरांगा। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा. I welcome all the devotees for today's session. In the previous two sessions we discussed the first two shlokas of Śikṣāṣṭakam. In the first shloka we have seen 7 effects of Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu describes that Cheto Darpanamarjanam Bhavamaha Davagni Nirvapanam. So, the process of Sri Krishna Sankirtanam, the process of glorifying Krishna's Nama, Rupa, Guna, Leela with body, mind and words will cleanse the heart, mirror of heart from all the dirt. What is the dirt? Anyabhilasha, Bhoga and Tyaga. Then Bhavamaha Davagni Nirvapanam. What is the Davagni? Forest fire. Adhyatmika, Adi Bhautika, Adi Devika Kleshas. So, the process of Sri Krishna Sankirtanam will destroy all these unwanted things and gives us the greatest auspiciousness by giving us entrance into the realm of relishing Krishna's love. Now, in the second shloka, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu specifically focuses on chanting the holy names of the Lord. Namna makari bahudha nija sarva shakti tatrarpita niyamitaha smarane na kalaha. So, in this shloka we saw Namna makari bahudha. The Lord has multiple names and these names can be categorized into 2 categories. One, Mukhyanam, second, Gaunanam. And Mukhyanam has 2 subcategories. They are Madhuryanam and Aishwaryanam. And these names of the Lord, especially the Mukhyanam, they have 3 qualities. They have multiple qualities, but 3 qualities are highlighted in the shloka. They are most powerful, as powerful as Krishna. They are most accessible. There are no hard and fast rules to chant these names. Then finally, they are most merciful. But the problem is, Durdaivam idrishamiha jani na anuragaha. My Durdaivam, my misfortune is, I don't have sufficient anuraga, attraction to chant these names. Right? Why there is no sufficient attraction to chant the holy names of Krishna? Although the holy names of Krishna are most powerful, accessible and merciful. Because people have a tendency to commit offenses. And there is a big list of offenses, 10 offenses committed to the holy name. Okay, we need to overcome the offenses. How can we effectively overcome the offenses and develop taste for chanting the holy names of the Lord always? The answer to this question is the third shloka of Śikṣāṣṭakam. So the third shloka of Śikṣāṣṭakam gives us the process or the method that we need to follow to come to the stage of constantly chanting the holy names of Krishna. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not give so many other methods. You do tapasya, you do this vrata, you do that vrata, you do this homa. He did not give all the methods. He only said to come to the stage of chanting the holy names of the Lord constantly, which is the essence of sadhana bhakti, which is the foremost process of sadhana bhakti. We need to cultivate 4 qualities. Trinadapi sunichena tarorapi sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sada harihi. Trinad api sunichena. Trina means a blade of grass. Api means even more than blade of grass. Sunichena. Su-nichena means I am very fallen, very low. Nicha means low. Ucha means high. Sunichena means very low. Lower than whom? Trinadapi. I am lower than a blade of grass. One should think of oneself like that. If one thinks of oneself inferior to even a blade of grass, this feeling will enable us to chant the holy names of Krishna effectively, constantly. Kirtaniya sada harihi. Kirtaniya means to glorify the Lord. Sada means always. Hari means the Supreme Lord who can do Haran. Other day we were discussing some shlokas from Śikṣāṣṭakam, how Krishna steals everything else. He does Haran. Sriradhikaya hridayasya chauram navambudhashyamala kanti chauram padashritanam cha samasta chauram chauragraganyam purusham namami. He can steal everything from someone who surrendered unto him. Or I surrendered to him, he is stealing everything. Yeah, everything that is not required for us, he will steal. He will steal our difficulties. He will steal our material desires. He will steal our hearts, most importantly. Therefore, he is called Hari. So, to be able to constantly chant the names of Hari, who does that Haran of everything unwanted in our spiritual life, we should develop humility. Dranadapi sunichena. And the second quality emphasized is Taror api sahishnuna. There are two versions. Taror iva sahishnuna. Second is Taror api sahishnuna. Taror iva means, Taru is tree. Iva means like. Sahishnuna means to tolerate. Forbearance. So one should be tolerant like a tree. That's one version. But there is another version. Taror api sahishnuna. More tolerant than a tree. Be more tolerant than a tree. Why we have to be more tolerant than a tree? We can be more tolerant like a tree, right? That itself is big thing, big project for many people. I should be tolerant like a tree? No, more tolerant than a tree. What is the logic behind this? Actually, tree has no ability to retaliate. Therefore, tree tolerates, isn't it? If somebody throws a stone on the tree cannot throw something back, right? Tree will only give flowers and fruits and leaves. Tree tolerates all the heat of summer and gives us some shade. Whenever you are walking under the scorching heat of the summer sun, you go under a tree for shade and tree will give you shelter. Tree tolerates the summer heat and gives you shelter. Tree tolerates the cold of winter and gives you some warmth. Tree tolerates even the rain and gives you some shade, right? At least you will be protected. If you don't have an umbrella, suddenly you will go, suddenly there is a train, you will run under a tree. At least that will give some shelter, if the canopy is very good. So tree gives us firewood, tree gives us flowers and fruits and whatnot. Entire existence of tree is meant for others. If somebody throws a stone at the tree doesn't retaliate. If somebody doesn't supply water to the tree doesn't ask, right? Because tree has no option. Tree has no ability to protest or request, but can only tolerate. But despite having the ability to protest or request or retaliate, if you still tolerate, then you can chant the holy names of Krishna, right? Therefore, it is Taror api sahishnuna, not just Taror iva sahishnuna. Taror iva is also big thing for a sadhaka, but Taror api is also mentioned, right? You should be more tolerant than a tree, because tree has no option but to tolerate, but even if you have an option, you should tolerate. We'll discuss more about it. Let me complete the meaning. Trinadapi sunichena, tarorapi sahishnuna. Third is amanina. And fourth is manadena. Amani. Man means somebody has a lot of false prestige. Amanina means no false prestige. This is somewhat similar to humility only. Right? But still, Mahaprabhu emphasized. Be humble, that's first point. Third point is, be free from false prestige. Right? Mana, amanina means don't have false prestige, don't have false pride. Don't expect people to honor you. Don't expect people to praise you or respect you. Then what should you do? Mana dena. You offer man to others, samman to others. So, I think Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami in the Chaitanya Charitamrita gives some other simpler terminologies to these four qualities. You know what are they? First, sunichatva. Second, Sahishnutva. Third, Nirabhiman. Fourth, Samman. Trinadapi Sunichana is Sunichatva. Sunichata. Right? Humility. Tarorapi Sahishnana is Sahishnutva. That is tolerance. Amanina is Nirabhiman, which is freedom from false prestige. Manadena is Samman, giving respect to others. Be ready to give all respect to everybody. So these are the four qualities that are required to constantly chant the holy names of Krishna, Kirtanaya Sadaharihi, and thus destroy the misfortune described in the previous shloka. What is the misfortune? Durdaiva midrishamiha jani na anuragaha. Having no anuraga to chant the names of Hari is a misfortune. You can destroy that misfortune and come to the stage of chanting the names of the Lord constantly by developing these four qualities. This is our sadhana. One sadhana is to do Sravanam and Kirtanam. Another sadhana is to cultivate these qualities that are favorable to our Sravanam and Kirtanam. Right? So we need to cultivate qualities that are very favorable for our advancement in bhakti. The other day I was saying that we get the seed of bhakti from a bona fide Vaishnava Guru, and the seed of bhakti will grow into a nice plant or a big creeper when we water the seed. And that watering process is Sravanam Kirtanam, Kirtanaya Sadaharihi, Nama Sankirtanam, Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. But the seed will not grow nicely despite the watering process if the soil is not fertile. And what is the fertility of soil? These four qualities. Tranadapi Sunichena, Tarorapi Sahishnuna, Amanina Manadena, Kirtanaya Sadahari. So when we are able to respect others and not expect respect or honor for others, from others, not hankering to be honored by others, and if you have genuine humility and tolerance, then we will be able to do sadhana effectively. Then we will be able to do kirtanam and shravanam nicely, and our bhakti lata will grow nicely. And these four are not four independent qualities, by the way. I have humility, but I don't have tolerance. It doesn't work like that. I respect everyone, but I also respect others. I also expect respect from others. No. I can respect people, but I'm not humble. If you're not humble, how can you respect? So all these four qualities are interlinked. This humility, even gratitude. So all these things are interlinked with each other. And in short, all these four qualities can be summarized into one quality, that is humility. If you're humble, you can tolerate. If you're really humble, you don't expect respect from others. If you are really humble, you respect everyone for what they are. So humility is the essence of these four qualities. And four qualities are distinctly mentioned, but all these are not two or four different qualities. They are not mutually independent qualities. They are dependent on each other. They overlap with each other. They are interdependent, right? So now let's go through these shlokas one by one. These four qualities one by one. So in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, Sanatana Goswami writes that highest humility is manifested when you have highest prema. Who is most humble? One who loves Krishna the most. Who are the best of all the devotees of Krishna? The gopis of Vrindavan. So the gopis of Vrindavan are the topmost devotees of Krishna because they have the highest prema, they have the highest dainya. Dainya means humility. And amongst all the gopis, who is the topmost? Srimati Radharani. She has the topmost dainya. She is most humble devotee. She says, "Oh Krishna, here is a devotee who is better than me, who renders service to you much better than me. Please accept this devotee." She is not saying it as a formality or to be poetic or something like that. She means it. She really means. Because of her genuine humility, she feels that I am unable to serve Krishna sufficiently. These devotees are serving. And she encourages other gopis to go and serve Krishna directly. So the greatest dainya or humility is manifested when somebody loves Krishna the most and more than anything else or anyone else. Now let's come to the first quality. We are going deep into each of these qualities. First, Trinadapi Sunichena. As I said, Trina means a blade of grass. Trinadapi Sunichena means a feeling that I am even lower than a blade of grass, humbler than a blade of grass. So, now, a blade of grass is naturally very low, hina. It's not hanging from the sky, it's on the ground, it's under everybody's feet. Naturally, the position of a typical blade of grass is very, very low. So, when a pure devotee chants the holy names of the Lord, a devotee is Sarvottama. Sarvottama means better than everyone. So, means who is a best or who is the best living entity? One who has the greatest love for Krishna. And in that love for Krishna, in that great Krishna prema, they chant Krishna Nama sincerely, isn't it? That's the best devotee, according to scriptures. So, although a devotee is Sarvottama, the devotee feels that I am Adhama. That feeling is humility. That's why it is Trinadapi Sunichena. It's not Trinad Iva Suhishna, Trinad Iva Sunichena. It is Trinadapi Sunichena. Don't be humble like a blade of grass. Be humbler than a blade of grass. Means, blade of grass is naturally humble. It's grounded. It's connected to the ground. It's naturally low. Physically and in all ways, this blade of grass is very low, under everybody's feet, not above anyone's head, right? It's naturally low, so it is humble, right? When somebody walks on the street and stamps on top of a blade of grass doesn't protest. He has no ability to protest. That's his natural constitutional position, to be humble like that, very low, grounded. But although a devotee is Sarvottama, still he should feel very low. Therefore, it is Trinat Api Sunichena. Right? Trina is already Sunichena, very low. But even if you are high, you feel low. It's not artificial. That's natural for a devotee. Even if the devotee is very high, he feels I am not so qualified. I am very low. I am very poor. Therefore, the devotee is recommended to be Trinat Api Sunichena. So, for Trina to be humble like that is very natural. But it's not necessary for a Sarvottama devotee to be so humble like that. Like, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Prataparudra Maharaj, he is the Uttama Raja. But what was he doing? Tuchha Sevan. He need not clean the floor. He did not take a broom and then clean the floor in front of Jagannathji. So many sweepers are there, so many servants and so many assistants, so many soldiers and so many maid servants, so many ministers, so many people are there under him in this hierarchy, but he is picking up a jhadu and then he is cleaning the floor in front of Jagannathji. Uttama Raja kare tuchha sevan. Although he is Uttama Raja, he is doing tuchha seva. That is humility. If a sweeper who has no other option but to sweep, if he sweeps, that's natural. That's like common. But for a Raja, for him to sweep, he really requires humility. Right? So that's why Trinadapi Sunichan is mentioned. Sarvottama apane kare hina mane. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhyalila says, although a devotee is Sarvottama, devotee considers oneself hina. Therefore he is Trinadapi Sunichena, not Trinad Iva Sunichena. Sometimes Prabhupada, very, very scary description. Prabhupada says, not humble like a blade of grass, not humbler than a blade of grass. You be more humble than a straw on the street. At least blade of grass is connected to the ground, grounded. It is still green, it is growing. Right, that is blade of grass. And Mahaprabhu very, very compassionately says, be humbler than a blade of grass. But Prabhupada gives a higher standard. He says, be more humble than a straw on the street. Straw on the street is dry. It is disconnected from the ground. It's not even growing. It's neglected. Anybody can trample on it, right? And see, there is grass on the lawn. You feel like sitting there. You still value that grass. But a blade of grass, a straw on the street, you don't value it, right? Prabhupada says, be humbler than that. So that's the highest standard of a Vaishnava. Be humbler than a straw on the street. So a blade of grass is a simple material object naturally lying on the ground. But even if steps on it, somebody steps on it casually or deliberately, he does not retaliate. But even though a devotee has the ability to retaliate or counteract or protest or whatever, devotee still keeps quiet and respects other people. That is natural humility. Now, let us discuss some examples of humility. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, once Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu called Sanatana Goswami. Sanatana Goswami should come here. He told one of his assistants, and this assistant immediately went to Sanatana Goswami and said, Mahaprabhu is calling you. Then Sanatana Goswami felt, Mahaprabhu is calling me. He immediately ran to the place where Mahaprabhu was sitting, and Mahaprabhu asked. And it was summer season, very hot. Mahaprabhu asked Sanatana Goswami, how did you come here? Which path did you take? Sanatana Goswami said, I took the path via the sandy beach. Then Mahaprabhu said, why did you take that path? You are not even wearing shoes. And that path is very, very hot. The sand is so hot, the land is so hot that you can put dosa also. That's how it's like tawa. Many times in some places when the sun is very hot, the floor becomes extremely hot that you can't even stand there. So you have come in such a hot, fiery path. Why can't you come in front of Jagannathji temple via Simhadwar? That's a very shady path. It's cool. Then Sanatana Goswami said, my dear Lord, I have this physical disease. I have bodily sores and there's a lot of blood and pus coming out of it. I'm very contaminated. Internally, externally, I'm very contaminated. If I walk via Simhadwar path, so many pujaris are going in and out there for the service of Jagannath. If they happen to touch me or if I happen to touch them, it's a very great offense to the service of the Lord. The pujari has to enter in a very pure state and I'm very impure, so I don't want to disturb their puja. Therefore I came via the sandy path. Then Mahaprabhu said, this is Vaishnava quality. This is humility. You have set the right standard, greatest standard for Vaishnava by following the etiquette. Mahaprabhu says, Maryada Palana Haya Sadhura Bhushan. The ornament of a sadhu is Maryada Palan, to follow the etiquettes. It's an etiquette not to touch a pujari, not come very close to a pujari who is about to worship the deities. You need to keep some distance. They need to be in a very pure state, physical state and mental state to worship the deities. So, pujaris are not, some distance is kept. So, Sanatana Goswami considers himself so unqualified, so contaminated and so impure that he cannot even come closer to a pujari. He should walk on the sandy path. For that, he can tolerate all the blisters on his feet also. That is the standard of humility set by Sanatana Goswami. And Mahaprabhu is appreciating that. And what is humility and what humility is not? Let's meditate on it. What exactly is humility? Sometimes people consider humility as a sign of weakness or lack of confidence or self-pity or some inferiority complex, feeling oneself so unqualified and disqualified and very low, not feeling confident to anything. This is not humility. This is not necessarily humility. Or sometimes people go in front of some influential people, celebrities or seniors or someone who is greater than oneself, and they're very humble, naturally very humble in front of them. Is that really humility? If they are not senior, if they are not influential, if they are not powerful, if they are not wealthy, if they can't do what you expect them to do you still respect them? So the real respect given to another living entity is not for their power or position or wealth or beauty or education or scholarship or influence or name, fame, reputation, etc. The real respect we can give to any other living entity is because of their connection with Krishna. Because they are parts and parcels of Krishna, they are amshas of Krishna, they are servants of Krishna, at least they are potentially servants of Krishna, potentially devotees of Krishna, they deserve respect. Vidya vinaya sampanne brahmane gavihastini sunichaiva svapakecha panditaha samadarshinaha. So, Vidya vinaya sampanne, one who has Vidya should also have Vinaya. When Vidya is there and that Vidya is leading to Ahankar, somebody has a lot of Jnana, so much of knowledge they have, Jnana. If that Jnana is leading to Ahankar, that Jnana is actually Ajnana. But if that Jnana is giving them Vinaya, that is Vijnana. Vinaya plus Jnana becomes Vijnana. Take this V and put it in front of Jnana, it becomes Vijnana. Means humility plus knowledge leads to realization, deeper wisdom. But Ahankar plus Jnana becomes Ajnana. Take this A from Ahankar and put in front of Jnana, it becomes Ajnana. Ahankar plus Jnana. Arrogance plus knowledge leads to ignorance. And if you see Srimad Bhagavad Gita, in the 13th chapter, Krishna describes several aspects of knowledge, 20 aspects of knowledge. The first thing he says is, Amanitvam adambhitvam ahimsa kshantirarjavam acharyopasanam shaucham sthiryam atma vinigraha. First he says, Amanitvam. Amanitvam means no false prestige, humility. Adambhitvam, no pride, no arrogance. Both are almost same. So Krishna says the first aspect of knowledge is humility. If developing so much of knowledge is not inducing a feeling of humility in us, our knowledge is not knowledge, it is ignorance. The more we study Shastra, the more we understand Krishna's Nama, Rupa, Guna, Leela, the more we understand Bhakti Tattva, Ishvara Tattva, Prakriti Tattva, Jiva Tattva, the more we understand these finer nuances of various aspects of philosophy from Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita and other Vaishnava scriptures, the more humble we should become. We understand how great Krishna is. By studying Shastra, we understand how great Krishna is and how insignificant am I. And you realize the gap. The more you read Shastra, the more you realize how far you are from Krishna. Oh, I am so low. I am so fallen. I am supposed to be serving Krishna and I am serving Maya here. I am caught up in this Maya. Read Brahma Vimohana Leela, you will develop humility. Read Govardhan Leela, you develop humility. But reading all these Leelas or Tattva, read Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, by reading all this, if you are becoming proud, thinking that we know so much, we missed the point. Although we read it, we missed the essence. We are just Bharavahis, not Saragrahis. Bharavahi means a burden carrier of so much of knowledge. There is a Jnana Bhara. Jnana Bhara, you understand? The burden of knowledge. Just like donkeys carry burden of so many clothes on their backs, so a scholar carries so much of Jnana Bhara, a lot of heavy load of knowledge on his back, just keep on analyzing, judging people, labeling people without any humility. So we are not here to carry Jnana Bhara. We are supposed to seek essence. A devotee is Saragrahi, not Bharavahi. Saragrahi means one who seeks the essence. What is the essence? Krishna loves us. We are servants of Krishna. He is the master, I am the servant. He is the enjoyer, I am enjoyed. He is the proprietor, I am his property. He is the doer, I am an instrument. So this is the mood we need to have. But an arrogant person thinks, I am the doer, I am the proprietor, I am the enjoyer, I am the master. But we are the opposite. We are not masters, we are servants. We are not the doers, we are instruments in those activities that Krishna is doing. Krishna is accomplishing and we are just instruments. This mood is humility. Being in instrument consciousness is humility, not accomplishment consciousness. Right? So humility stems from two things. One, an understanding of the supreme position of Krishna as the supreme source and shelter of everything in this universe. Second is
recognizing one's own insignificant position in comparison to Krishna and his devotees, of course. So understand how insignificant we are and understand how great Krishna is and realize this gap that induces humility in us. Therefore, the more knowledge we gain, the more Shastra we study, the more humble we should become. If it is inducing arrogance, we miss the essence of Shastra. We miss the main message there, right? So, now we need to go to the next point. What is the symptom of humility, or when somebody becomes humble, that humility leads to what? Service. When we realize your insignificant position in comparison to Krishna, the next moment you feel like serving him. I want to serve. Even in our human interactions also, when you see someone is very great and you realize they are so great and you are so small, you know what is the next thought that appears in the mind? Somehow I want to serve them. I want to assist them in some way. You go and ask, do you need anything? Can I do anything for you? Because you have genuine appreciation for them. You realize that they are greater than you. Naturally, a feeling of service attitude comes. So humility and servant consciousness are non-different. And in that consciousness of being a servant of Krishna, there is great happiness. But in that conception of being God or being great, there is no happiness, there is no satisfaction. Some people think they are so great, they are miserable inside. Some people think that I am not so great, they are ecstatic inside. Because that feeling of humility and servant consciousness gives so much of happiness and pleasure within. If we think we deserve to receive service from others, we deserve certain respect and honor and great treatment from others, that will make us miserable inside, because naturally we don't get it. And when we get it, that will boost our pride more and we'll become more miserable in future. So considering oneself as a low servant of Krishna will keep us, or giving credit of all our accomplishments to Krishna and other Vaishnavas, that will keep us humble. If you think I am the doer, I am miserable inside. If I think I am the accomplisher, I am the master, I am the proprietor, I am the controller, and I try to control others, money or manpower or resource or whatever, not in the mood of service, but as in the mood of controller, I am Ishvara. As we said this yesterday, it is Ishamani syndrome. So that Ishamani syndrome makes us miserable inside. But humility makes us blissful inside. Prabhupada said, Chaitanya Charitamrita, he translated, at the end Prabhupada said that if there is any credit for my translation work, all that should go to my Guru Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. I am not a scholar. I am not a devotee also. I don't have great devotion, I don't have great scholarship. If there is any credit for my translation activities or book publishing activities, that goes to my Guru Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He writes it, you can read Chaitanya Charitamrita, last part. So Bhakti Vedanta Swami is saying, I don't have so much bhakti, I don't know much Vedanta. I am not a scholar, I am not a great devotee. Whatever I did is only by the grace of my spiritual master. And he also gives all credit to his disciples. All this publication could happen because these disciples, my American disciples, worked so hard to make this happen. So all credit goes to them. He gave all credit to his Guru and he gave all credit to his disciples. Me, he did not take anything. Right? This is humility. And he is genuinely saying it. Similarly, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in his Sarartha Darshini commentary of Srimad Bhagavatam, he says, I read Jiva Goswami's Sandarbhas. I read Sanatana Goswami's Vaishnava Toshini. I read Sridhar Swami's commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam. After reading all these wonderful literatures written by great devotees, I also became inspired to write something. And that is the Sarartha Darshini commentary. If I am doing it with a sincere, genuine intent to glorify Krishna, every word that I am writing will give bliss to the readers. But if I am writing out of my arrogance or my foolishness, I will only create mockery. This is what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur said. Now he is saying that if there is any credit of my work, if it is nice, that credit should go to these great Vaishnavas. But if there is any mistakes in my work, I take responsibility. So humility is to take responsibility for the mistakes happened and transfer the credit of success to devotees and parampara and Krishna. But someone who does not have humility, they shift blame and they take credit. But someone who has humility, they transfer credits and accept blame and accept responsibility for the mistakes. This is the difference between humility and arrogance or doership mentality. This is what our acharyas are teaching us, Prabhupada and Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur. And yesterday we discussed how can we develop humility. In a humble state of mind, we can chant the holy names nicely. That's what the shloka says. Tranadapi sunichena leads to kirtane sada harihi. But yesterday we discussed that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told our Vasudeva leper, you constantly chant the holy names of Krishna, that will induce humility. Because by constantly saying Krishna, 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 we will come out of that self-absorption, self-obsession, self-centered thought process. We start thinking about Krishna as superior to us and we think of oneself low. We realize our insignificance. The more we chant Krishna's names, the more we hear about Krishna, the more we read about Krishna in the Shastra, the more we do Shravanam and Kirtanam, the more humble we have to become. And if Shravanam and Kirtanam is not inducing humility in us and inducing pride in us, we have not done Shravanam and Kirtanam properly. If Shravanam and Kirtanam is done nicely, then that should make us humble. So, humility is induced to chanting. Prabhu kahe, kabhu tomara na habe abhiman, nirantara kaha tumi Krishna Krishna naam. If you constantly chant Krishna Krishna naam, then there is no abhiman. You will not have any abhiman. You will be Tranadapi Sunichena. Right? So, Haridas Thakur, he is so humble that when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked him, please come and take prasad with me. But Haridas Thakur said, no, my dear Lord, I am not qualified to sit next to you and take prasad. After you complete your prasad along with Nityanand Prabhu, Advaita Charya will give me one morsel of food at the end. Like in those traditional homes, after the guests are fed, after the prominent guests are fed, after the householder also eats something, if something is left out, that is given to the beggars in many places, right? Of course, higher than that is, first you call somebody and feed them, and if something is left, you eat. That's a higher standard. But something is left out is given to the beggars, right? Haridas Thakur considers himself so low that I am not qualified to take a share of the main meal. Whatever is left out, after everybody eats, after Mahaprabhu eats, after Nityanand Prabhu eats, after everybody eats, whatever is left out, let me take that and eat it. He's denying an opportunity to dine along with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu out of his humility, not out of arrogance. So sometimes in denying an opportunity or accepting an opportunity, one can be humble or arrogant. If somebody says yes to a spiritual privilege, that does not mean he's not humble. He's humble. For example, Prahlad Maharaj, he was called by Lord Brahma. He said, Prahlad, all the devatas offered their prayers, but Narasimhadev is not pacified. Even Lakshmi Devi is feeling hesitant to approach Narasimhadev. So, you should go and appease Narasimhadev. Please go ahead. Then Prahlad Maharaj went ahead. He did not say, I am not qualified. If devatas failed, how can I please him? No, he went ahead. He went ahead in front of Narasimhadev and said, Brahma dayasura gana munayotha siddha sattvaikata nagatayo vachasam pravahaihi naradhitum puru ganeir adhuna pipipru kim toshtumarhati same harirugrajate. I am coming from Ugrajati. This Brahmadaya Suragana, all these great devatas headed by Brahma and Munis and Siddhas, they are in Sattvaguna, Sattvaikatana Gatayo. They are not only in Sattvaguna, Vachasam Pravahaihi. The Vachasa, the words are flowing from their mouth like pravaha. Pravaha means flow, free flow, unobstructed flow. Vachasam pravahaihi means their words are so eloquent. Sometimes when we are speaking something, we get stuck and we don't get proper vocabulary, the right word to use. When we are speaking a foreign language, right? You think in your own native language and then you try to put it in English. And after spending some time in ISKCON, you think in English and then you speak in Hindi, right? Sometimes we will not get the right words to express. Now I give Telugu lectures, thought process is in English, and I have to search for Telugu words. I don't know if that happens with other devotees when they are giving local language lectures, because we read in English, right? So eloquence is a rare quality. Only some people are very eloquent. And Prahlad Maharaj says, Vachasam pravahaihi, all these devatas and munis and siddhas are very eloquent. With their eloquence and with their sattva-guna, they could not please you, my dear Lord. How can I please you? I don't have sattva-guna. I am coming from Ugrajati. Ugrajati is demoniac dynasty, which is more into passion and ignorance, not goodness. I don't have sattva-guna. And I am a 5-year-old child. 5-year-old child cannot be so eloquent, right? At the max, they will memorize one sloka and then speak eloquently, but otherwise, if they have to create sentences and speak, they're like little broken language only comes out. I'm a 5-year-old child, I don't have eloquence also, right? So I don't have eloquence, I don't have sattva-guna, how can I please you? Basically, Prahlad is establishing that eloquence does not please the Lord. Sattva-guna also does not please the Lord. What pleases the Lord? Bhakti pleases the Lord. Manye dhanabhijana rupa tapashrito jaha tejaha prabhava bala paurusha buddhi yogaha naradhanaya hi bhavanti parasya pumso bhaktya tutosha bhagavan gajayuthapaya dhana abhijana rupa tapa shruta oja teja prabhava bala paurusha buddhi yoga. These 12 qualifications are neither qualifications nor disqualifications to please the Lord. In fact, they are of no relevance to connect with the Lord. The Lord is pleased only with Bhaktya tutosha bhagavan gajayuthapaya. Only bhakti pleases him. And that bhakti is better performed or best performed with humility. So Prahlad Maharaj said that, oh Lord, I am not qualified. And he gave big list. But still, when Brahma requested me, I accepted the spiritual privilege and I came in front of you to offer these prayers. He went to offer prayers and first he is saying, I am not qualified to offer prayers. They are better than me. I am a small child. I am a demon. I don't have eloquence. He is saying how he is not qualified. If you are really not qualified, why did you come here? Somebody may question, logical person. He went there to do something and he is only saying, sloka after sloka, he is only saying, I am not qualified to do it. Then why did you come here? Some people will question. Then Prahlad's answer is, your mercy is greater than all my disqualifications. That is humility. Devotee may accept a spiritual privilege or devotee may take up an important service to Krishna not because he or she has the ability to do that service, but because Krishna's grace is better than all my abilities or disabilities or qualifications or disqualifications. Krishna arranged a situation where I got this opportunity to do this service, let me do it. To the best of my ability. If it happens nicely, credit goes to Krishna. If it doesn't happen nicely, okay, I don't have Krishna's sanction, I don't have ability. Let someone else who has that ability will do that service. Let them do that service. So, in accepting a spiritual privilege or in not accepting a spiritual privilege, a devotee is humble only. Sometimes those who are washing plates or doing jhadu, that's a menial service. But is the mentality menial? Somebody may think, I'm doing jhadu pocha. I'm washing vessels. And these people are doing big attention attracting services. I'm more humble than them. They're proud of their humility. Right? So whether somebody does a menial service or attention attracting service, whether somebody accepts a spiritual privilege or doesn't accept, the mood is humility. We saw Prahlad Maharaj accepted the spiritual privilege to go and appease Narasimhadev, and he's humble. And Haridas Thakur did not accept the spiritual privilege of eating along with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that is also humility. Right? The action done by a devotee can vary, done by different devotees can vary, but the mood is humility. So, Lord Brahma, initially he was trying to test Krishna. He stole the calves and the cowherd boys Brahma has stolen. In a moment he came back and then he saw all the boys and calves intact, and the long story, Brahma Vimohana Leela. And Brahma finally realized that Krishna is great. Because all these calves and boys transformed themselves into Vishnumurti, 400 Vishnumurti forms, and they merged into Krishna. And then Brahma saw this grand display of Krishna's opulence and Krishna's vibhutis and powers, and he became very humble and fell at the feet of Krishna and said, I'm really sorry. Then Brahma understood the glory of Vrindavan. When Brahma did not have humility, he could not appreciate the sweetness of Vrindavan pastimes of Krishna. He thought, how is this Krishna accepting the jhuta, the remnants of his friends, although there are very nice elaborate procedures to accept, to offer bhoga to the Lord is accepting the jhuta of these little kids. Is he really God? Let me test him. But Brahma could not understand the greatness or sweetness of the Vraja pastimes of Krishna at that moment, because he did not have humility. When Brahma did not have humility, he could not appreciate Krishna's dealings with Vrajavasis, he could not appreciate the glory of Vrindavan. But when Brahma became humble, he could actually understand how glorious Vrindavan is, how great Vrajavasis are. Then he's saying, Jananta eva janantu kimba hukyana me prabho manaso vapusho vacho vaibhavam tava gocharam. He says, many people claim an understanding of Krishna and his pastimes. As far as I am concerned, I don't understand. Manaso vapusho vacho vaibhavam tava gocharam. With my body, mind and words, I cannot understand your glories, O Lord. Sorry, I could not understand. Actually, when he was not humble, he could not understand the glory of Vrindavan. And after he became humble, he understood the glory of Vrindavan. And after understanding the glory of Vrindavan, he says, I can't understand. That is humility. Right? All the devotee has a fairly good understanding of Krishna, Vrindavan, and all these great pastimes and tattva. Devotee feels, I don't have understanding. That is humility. Because the more we understand, the more humble we become. Earlier he thought he understood. He even thought that I will put a test also. Teacher understands the subject matter better than the student. And teacher also feels, let me put a test to the student so that we'll understand how much the student understood. So Brahma is in that mood at that time. Let me test Krishna whether he's God or not. But later he understood, I am not teacher, I am student. I did not understand. Actually he understood, because of his humility he understood. Then he said, I did not understand. Oh Lord, you are so unlimited, how can I understand you? This is humility. So, I think we discussed a lot on humility. And whatever we discussed is not a lot, there's a lot more to discuss. But seeing that only 15 minutes are there, I'll go to the next 3 qualities, 5 minutes each. A quick summary. So we discussed Tranadapi Sunichena. Now let's discuss Tarorapi Sahishnana. Tarorapi Sahishnana means more tolerant than a tree. Why not tolerant like a tree? Why more tolerant than a tree? We discussed it. Tree has no other option but to tolerate. But even if you have an ability to retaliate, still you choose to tolerate, that is real tolerance. Mother Parvati cursed Chitraketu Maharaj. May you become a demon, my dear son. Chitraketu Maharaj can counter curse. He did not. He did not curse. Similarly, Shringi, Shamikrishi's son Shringi cursed Parikshit Maharaj. May this king die within 7 days because of a snake bite. And Parikshit Maharaj had the ability to counter curse. But he chose not to curse. Humility. Let me accept it. Mother Parvati, and even Chitraketu Maharaj went and said, I'm really sorry, my dear mother. He's apologizing. And Parikshit Maharaj did not apologize. Shamikrishi, I'm sorry, I did a mistake. He did not say sorry. Why? Because Shamikrishi is already embarrassed that his son cursed Parikshit Maharaj in this way. He's already feeling very bad and awkward. If Parikshit Maharaj goes and says sorry, then he'll feel more awkward, more embarrassed. So to protect him from that embarrassment, he did not even say sorry. You see, whether in saying sorry or not saying sorry, whether in apologizing or not apologizing for one's mistakes, these two Vaishnavas are humble. They're tolerant. They accepted the curse. Instead of thinking how they were affected because of these curses, they were thinking how these devotees will get affected if I say sorry, if I don't say sorry. Because Mother Parvati felt very upset with Chitraketu Maharaj's behavior, Chitraketu Maharaj went and pacified her by saying sorry. And because Shamika Rishi was feeling so embarrassed that his son has done this to Parikshit Maharaj, Parikshit Maharaj did not even go in front of Shamika Rishi to say sorry. He did not say sorry, he said sorry. Both accepted the curse, but one said sorry, one did not say sorry. Why? Because they were giving more value to the emotions of other devotees more than what has happened to them. So this is Vaishnava tolerance. Vaishnava tolerance is you give more importance to the emotions of other devotees and you tolerate your own emotional turmoil. Many times we respond or we react depending on how much we are hurt, how much we are affected by someone else's behavior. Because that is somewhat like self-centeredness. Of course, not that we, in the name of tolerance, we need not or we should not allow ourselves to get exploited on a practical plane. But I'm telling what's happening in the inner emotions of a devotee. They don't consider what injustice or disrespect happened to them. They focus more on what is the emotions of these devotees. If I say this or if I do this, how will they feel? Giving more importance to others' emotions than one's own emotions is the standard set for a Vaishnava. So tarorapi sahushnuna. Then we know matra sparshastha kaunteya and all that. And tolerance is exhibited in multiple levels. On the physical level, we tolerate heat and cold. On the mental level, we should tolerate happiness and distress. On the egoistic level, we tolerate honor and dishonor. Who said this? Krishna said this. Sitoshna sukha dukkheshu tatha mana apamana yor. Sita and Ushna, heat and cold, must be tolerated on the physical level. Sukha dukkheshu, sukha and dukkha, happiness and distress, must be tolerated on the mental level. Man and apman, honor and dishonor, must be tolerated on the level of ego. At all levels, one has to tolerate. Then we will be able to chant the holy names of the Lord. There are many more details, but I'll go to the next quality of this Nirabhiman or Amanina, freedom from false prestige. Now, false prestige manifests in multiple ways. One, attachment or possessiveness. You are so attached to what you have. You are so possessive about what you have acquired. That is false prestige or false identification. Second, doership mentality. This false prestige also manifests as a doership mentality. Third, it manifests as superiority complex. I am better than others. You are attached to your possessions at one level, and you are also attached to the identity of doing things, or I am a performer, I am a doer, that's second. Third, you feel yourself better than others. Right? One, what you have. Second, what you are. Third, what you are in comparison with others. In all three ways, false prestige, like a virus, it affects us. We need to recognize, actually we need to introspect. Am I being falsely proud? Time to time we need to introspect and reflect on our activities and our emotions. Right? So, we need to rise above this false prestige. How do we do that? Recognize that whatever we do, whatever we have, is all by Krishna's grace. So the credit should go to Krishna. Whatever we accomplish, the credit should go to Krishna, Guru and Vaishnavas. One more thing is, a little side point, connected. when somebody is having some difficulty, to show compassion on a person who is undergoing some difficulty is easy. You offer a helping hand. It's not easy for many people, but relatively it is easier to show compassion on someone who is in some struggle. But to genuinely appreciate someone who is better than you is more difficult than to show compassion on someone who is inferior to you. This person is inferior to you in some way. He is undergoing some trouble. He is very superior to you, he is very great. Now showing some kindness on someone who is less qualified than you is easier compared to accepting the greatness of another person who is more qualified than us. Why? There is a false prestige here. There is false prestige in showing compassion, in extending a helping hand, and there is a false prestige in not being able to accept someone else's greatness. You may be helping someone, but there is a sense of superiority complex. Yeah, I am helping this person. They are lower than me, I am better. I helped them. मैंने बचाया उसको. So some people may even claim that I have helped them, I did this. There is a sense of doership. All these false prestige. You help in a mode of being a servant. Actually, when we receive service from others, means when somebody helps us in some way, we can feel grateful. But a higher level of gratitude is to receive an opportunity to serve others. Getting right? When you receive seva from others, you can feel grateful. That is one level of gratitude. But when you get an opportunity to serve others, that's a higher level of gratitude. I am grateful to serve you in this way. Thank you for allowing me to do this service for you. That is higher level of gratitude. Right? So these are finer nuances. Like whatever help we are doing to others, it's not our help to others. Whatever compassion you are showing to others, it's not your compassion on them. We are instruments of compassion. We are not originators of compassion. Krishna is compassionate. Acharyas are compassionate. Srila Prabhupada is compassionate. Spiritual master is compassionate. And we receive their compassion, we carry it and we transmit it to others, and it's coming from them through me. That's all. It's not coming from me, it's coming through me. When can it flow through me? When I am in the right consciousness, when I have the transparency within us. When I am transparent, I will transparently transmit this compassion from the parampara to the other people. But when I have false ego, when I have false prestige, I will block their compassion. Of course, their compassion will flow in other directions, but the point is, it cannot flow through me because I have false prestige. The greatest compassion we can show on others, the greatest kindness or welfare work we can do for others is by acting as an instrument of Krishna's compassion, Parampara's compassion. By being submissive, by being transparent in transmitting the transcendental teachings, we can act as a better instrument. We can be better compassionate. If for showing compassion on someone else, if I want to take credit, it's not compassion, it's false prestige. Even in our acts of kindness and compassion also, we can acquire a lot of false prestige. So, when we are humble, when we only consider ourselves as nimitta matram bhava savyasachin. You may be Savyasachi. You may have the ability to release arrows from both the hands. You are Savyasachi, but still you are a Nimitta Matram. Krishna says, Nimitta Matram is your instrument. I am so talented. You are a talented instrument. Because I have given you the talent. Your talent came from me and use the talent in my service. So, although you are talented, you are still an instrument. Just because you are talented, that does not mean you are not an instrument in Krishna's hands. And these people, they can act as instruments because they don't have much talent. I am already talented. I am independent. I am not instrument. I am not someone's tool. I am not someone's das. I am boss. That is false prestige. However talented and however influential you may be, still, if you are obedient to Krishna, obedient to Parampara, then you can act as a proper instrument of compassion. Compassion is shown in the mode of an instrument, not as an originator. We are not origin of anything. Krishna is the origin of everything. Aham adir hi devanam, anadir adir govinda. He is the adi of everything. If he is the adi, how can we have false prestige? All prestige should go to the Adi, not the Madhya people, right? That should go to the source, right? Bulb may be very proud that I'm providing light, but where is it getting that power to provide this light? So credit goes to the electricity, right? So with this, I'll conclude. False prestige. Let me go to the last point. Manadena. Manadena means respecting others. Why should we respect others? There are hundreds of reasons, but let me give 8 reasons, which are highlighted by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. In Śikṣāṣṭakam, chapter 2, he says, first, Naramatra Maryada. Just because someone else is a human being, you respect that person. He may have 100 other faults, but because he is a human being, respect them. Naramatra Maryada. Second is Sabhyata Maryada. Sabhyata means they are civilized human beings, therefore I respect them. Third, Raja Maryada or Pada Maryada. They are in a position. It's not that they are civilized, it's not just that they are human beings, they are in a respectable position, therefore respect them at least for their position. Just like Sanatana Goswami respected Nawab Hussain Shah, although he's bad. Respect means not that he's following him. You respect everyone, but you may not follow everyone, by the way. You follow Parampara, you follow spiritual master, you follow Prabhupada, you follow Krishna's teachings, you follow Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instructions. You may not follow everybody, but respect everybody. When Sanatana Goswami when Nawab Hussain Shah came to Sanatana Goswami's residence, all the Vaishnavas are sitting and discussing Srimad Bhagavatam. Although they are discussing Srimad Bhagavatam, they stopped it, they got up to receive Nawab Hussain Shah because he is in a position Raja Maryada. Not that he becomes better than Bhagavatam, but that respect, that acknowledgement you have to give. Third is Vidya Maryada. If someone is more knowledgeable than you, respect them. Fifth, Sadguna Maryada. If someone has good qualities, respect them. They may not be better than you in terms of position or wealth or beauty or influence, etc. But they have Sadguna, they have good qualities. Even if they have one good quality which is not there in you, you respect them. Then fourth is Varna Maryada. Varna is, if they are in a higher Varna, this Brahmana, Kshatriya, this Varnas, you can respect them. Then seventh is Ashrama Maryada. If they are sannyasis, they deserve most respect, greatest respect. Just like amongst the Varnas, Brahmanas receive so much respect, amongst the Ashramas, sannyasis receive greater respect. Now, when you say Varna, it's not according to Janma, it's according to Guna and Karma, that's clear. Then last, 8th reason for respect is, that is Bhakti Maryada. If they have more devotion than you, respect them. Whether they are great devotees or mere human beings, there is a reason for us to respect. And apart from all these reasons that we mentioned, they are souls, they are amshas of Krishna. Is that not a sufficient reason to respect a living entity? Even if they are not devotees, even if they are not from your geographical location, even if they are not friendly to you, because they are parts and parcels of Krishna, they are amshas of Krishna. Mama imamsho jiva loke jiva bhutas sanatanaha. That one shloka is sufficient reason for us to respect others. Manadena. So when we have these 4 qualities, Tranadapi sunichena, tarorapi sahishtuna, amanina, manadena, then we can do Kirtanaya Sadaharihi. Thank you very much. Shri Chaitanya Śikṣāṣṭakam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Exactly 8 o'clock. Questions? Before we take questions, Prabhu, I would like to hear something from you. You can comment, correct, or whatever. Just speak a few words from your realization we want to learn. Huh? But your humility will make you to speak now.
I have a question. My question is, many times we hear about these verses from Śikṣāṣṭakam, and especially this 3rd verse, that we have to become humble, we have to become tolerant. But there's something in the heart which stops us from being humble and being tolerant, and that thought is that I'll get exploited, I'll get trampled upon. There's a fear that everyone out there is just exploiting, and if I become humble, then what happens? Because devotees will ask this question, Prabhuji, if I become humble at office, then what will happen? Right? So, but if you ask them, then there's a fear. If I become humble with devotees in temple, then there is a problem. Because I feel I'll get exploited. So how do you resolve this? How do they come out of that fear?
They will use it like a doormat. I think many years back, more than a decade back, one devotee asked the same question. When Mataji asked this question to His Holiness Radhana Swami Maharaj in ISKCON Chowpatty, Radha Gopinath Mandir Temple Hall. Then Maharaj said, humility does not mean we allow ourselves to get exploited by others. Humility and tolerance does not mean we allow ourselves to get exploited by others. Because there is a basic need for us to protect ourselves. Self-preservation is a basic need, right? So if someone is deliberately troubling us, bothering us, or quote-unquote exploiting us, then there's nothing wrong in trying to protect yourself. But if someone does not have that smartness to even detect that others are exploiting me, out of their simplicity or humility or modesty or whatever, if they continue to act according to others' expectations, especially when they are devotees, Krishna will protect us. Krishna will not allow exploitation to happen in the case of a devotee. So sometimes, like when we are applying this principle, in the name of humility, we should not allow ourselves to get exploited by others. That's correct, right? In an office, somebody is bothering you, somebody is troubling you. You cannot still say, no, let them trouble me. I will be like Vasudeva leper. When an insect comes and sucks blood from Vasudeva, he'll take that insect and put it back on its body. Don't imitate Vasudeva immediately. Right? Prematurely, we cannot imitate Vasudeva Brahmana. We should do the needful to protect ourselves in a very polite and respectful and dignified and decent way, without disrespecting the others, without hating others. Don't hate them. Don't hate the people who may be troubling you, but protect yourself as far as humanly possible. So that much is not wrong or not against Vaishnava teachings. However, even if somebody is naive enough to get troubled by others, Krishna is there to protect them. Either you protect yourself based on whatever talents Krishna has given you, or Krishna will protect us. For example, Durvasa Muni tried to harm Ambrish Maharaj. Ambrish Maharaj did not do a single attempt to protect himself. Sudarshan Chakra came and protected. So even if somebody is apparently exploited by others, especially in the devotee circles, it doesn't happen, but even if it happens to be like that, where you are like taken advantage of, people are taking benefit of your simplicity, that's okay, continue and Krishna will protect us. Krishna will see the genuinity of our heart, right? But if you are feeling some trouble or something like that, you can always go and express, like, please do something about it. But one who tolerates with a good intention while practicing spiritual life will never be deprived of Krishna's mercy. Krishna will take care of the devotee. So we should not have any fear of exploitation. Even if somebody exploits us, Krishna will not allow that to happen. And even if Krishna allows that to happen, take it as purification. Take it as a purification. Unless it's a serious abuse, the small inconveniences caused by other devotees in our spiritual circles must be taken as purification, and then we'll move on. But when you are in an authoritative position where you have to rectify something that is happening, something inappropriate that is happening, then you take, as a responsibility, you need to do the needful and rectify the situation. Tolerance is tolerating happiness and distress on a personal plane. Tolerance is not tolerating injustice. There's a difference between these two types of tolerance. Krishna told Arjuna, Matra sparshyastu kaunteya sitoshna sukha dukkhadaha agama apayino anityaha tam stitikshasva bharata. Happiness and distress comes and goes. They are temporary. Please tolerate. Then if Arjuna says, okay, I will tolerate all the nonsense done by Duryodhan, Dushyasan, Karna, Sakuni, I will not fight, I will go and beg like a mendicant. Krishna says, no, 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 I am not speaking about that tolerance. You should fight. You should fight for justice. Tolerance is not tolerance of injustice. Tolerance is not tolerating inappropriate behavior, avaishnava behavior. That is not tolerance. Tolerating happiness and distress on a personal plane. Right? And sometimes people will tolerate seeing these gradations of respect. So Nara Maryada, Vaishnava Maryada, Bhakta Maryada, Ashrama Maryada, Varna Maryada. For example, somebody who is elder to you or more knowledgeable than you, they may chastise. Fine, it's okay. Although the chastisement may seem a little heavy for you, you just tolerate, it's okay. He is like more knowledgeable, or he is elder to me, he is senior to me, or Padamaryada, he is in an authoritative position. Just tolerate, nothing wrong in it. But when things cross certain limits, and especially when you are in a responsible position to rectify the situation, in the name of tolerance, if you keep quiet, that becomes that's inappropriate. Krishna says, don't tolerate injustice. Tolerate happiness and distress on a personal plane. There are like multiple shades of exploitation. Does it make sense, Prabhu? You want to add? I know, I'm sure you have a much deeper and profound answer based on your experiences. Does it make sense? Thank you. Any other question or comment? How many can we take? It's 8 now. One question. Yes, Prabhu. Okay. Okay.
Prabhuji, it's when we are tackling pride, then it's easy to understand that our talent comes from Krishna. But usually we never bring Krishna in the picture. We compare ourselves with other devotees and feel we are superior to them, and then pride comes. So how do we understand, how do we tackle this kind of a pride?
No, we think we are better than, I think I missed
so,
it.
You had mentioned that one way of tackling pride is that we understand all our talents are coming from Krishna. So it is borrowed plumes. What's the big deal? Why should we be proud? But generally we never bring Krishna in the picture. We just compare with other devotees and feel we are superior to them. And then pride creeps in. So how do we protect ourselves from this kind of a pride?
We should bring Krishna into picture. Right? When we bring Krishna into picture, we will become humble, right? We will not become proud. So when we keep Krishna aside, and just keeping Krishna aside, we just compare ourselves. I am better than them, or they are better than me. When you think you are better than them, you will be proud. When you think they are better than you, you will become envious. This envy and pride, superiority complex and inferiority complex. These two are coming because we kept Krishna outside the picture. If we bring Krishna into picture, and when we do better than others, we are doing it only by Krishna's grace. Therefore, let me not be proud. If they are doing better than others, Krishna empowered them in that way. Let me not be envious. So, by constantly reminding ourselves and remembering that Krishna is the source of all powers or talents or opulences in people, in me or in others, we don't have to become victims of pride or envy, superiority complex or inferiority complex. The answer is there in your question itself, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. We will not be victimized by comparisons or criticism. Yes, Prabhu. Last question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So you were telling that Krishna will protect in all the circumstances. But in case of salted bread, those devotees were put in a jail. So how to understand this situation, Prabhu? How do you protect?
When you say protection, the protection must be understood. There are different layers of protection. Why not only the incident that you are quoting? Krishna protected Parikshit Maharaj when he was in the womb of Mother Uttara. But when Shemika Rishi cursed Parikshit Maharaj to die in 7 days, did Krishna protect? But he protected Prahlad Maharaj. When Hiranyakashipu is trying to kill Prahlad Maharaj in 100 different ways, Krishna protected all the time. But when Mother Parvati cursed Chitraketu Maharaj to become a demon, did Krishna protect? Apparently, the way Krishna deals with a particular devotee may seem that he is not protecting, he is not kind, he is not compassionate, he is neglecting, he is insensitive, etc., etc. But the real protection is protection of consciousness. Physical protection may come or may not come. According to like a material perspective, we may think that, okay, this is protection and this is not protection, but Krishna has a different understanding of protection only. Even in these difficult circumstances, when a devotee survives in bhakti, doesn't lose faith in bhakti, doesn't lose trust in Krishna, doesn't doubt Krishna's intentions or integrity despite undergoing so many difficulties, that devotee who tolerated all the difficulties will set a great example for several generations to follow. Right? Oh, this devotee is so faithful that although Krishna has kept him in such difficult circumstances, they did not lose faith. They did not give up devotion to Krishna. And that is an inspiration for many people. That's how Krishna protected that devotee by keeping that devotee in good consciousness and protected all of us by setting a good example through that devotee. Protection is not necessarily or not only physical protection from a particular calamity. Devotees will become sick. Devotees will face some financial problems. Devotees may have some other problems. But while undergoing those problems, what is their consciousness? If they are still devotional, that is real protection. Krishna did not protect Abhimanyu. Did Mother Uttara lose her faith in Krishna? When Ashwathama released the Brahmastra to kill Parikshit in her womb, Uttara ran to Krishna, Pahi Pahi Mahayogin Deva Deva Jagatpate Na Anyam Tadabhayam Pashyet Yatra Mrityuhu Parasparam. Pahi Pahi Mahayogin, oh Lord, please protect me, please protect me. Na Anyam Tadabhayam Pashyet, I can't see anyone else who can give me abhayam except you. She did not say, this Krishna did not protect my husband, Abhimanyu. Will he protect my son? Let me go find some other god. She did not say that. She is very clear. Na anyam tadabhayam pashyet. I don't see anyone else. Na anyam. Anyam means someone else. Na anyam means no one else. No one else can protect me. And even if you allow my son Parikshit to die also, that is your protection only. Just the way when you allowed my husband Abhimanyu to die, I don't feel that you are not my protector. Krishna will protect us in different ways. Sometimes protection can come by giving us a calamity and making us more dependent on Krishna, and in that feeling of dependence, in that mode of surrender, in the mode of taking Sharanagati, our consciousness is protected. That's a better protection than releasing us from that misery and allowing us to enjoy materially. That's not necessarily protection. Krishna knows what is good for us. So, these are some thoughts. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Granthāraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.